Hello and welcome to coverage of Chasing Vlaanderen. This is monument number 2 for the ECRO Tour for 2025, and it does have a bit of a monument feel. We have huge fields signed up across the various time slots tonight, which I'm very excited about. We've got a new look commentary setup. I'm just going to keep myself nice and tiny in the corner. The interesting thing is on the racing anyway, and I'm just sitting in the pen so I can follow this race with you tonight and take you through it. So should be set for an absolute classic. We are in Richmond. We are doing the cobbled roads. We're doing Richmond loop around, which if you're not familiar with it, it's not a common route. Basically, we've got 3 laps of cobbled climbs reverse. So we're going to go up and down those punchy short climbs, up 23rd Street reverse, up Libby Hill reverse, and then the long grinding climb up Broad Street. We're going to do that circuit 3 times without going through the fan flats and getting the recovery. And then we're going to spin around, which is the name. We're going to go through the fan flats, a little bit of flat recovery, and then back for the finish that you might be more familiar with going around the Richmond course. So we'll go up Libby Hill, we'll go up 23rd Street, and then we'll have the long climb up Broad Street to finish. There was a late change to the route tonight. They were going to be going another 5 kilometers out to the fan flats, but no, we are going to finish at the lap banner tonight, which makes my job a little bit easier and maybe takes away some of the nervousness about what could go wrong when you're doing interesting routes like this, which aren't quite as simple. So high stakes tonight. If you don't know the ECRO Tour, so ECRO Tour runs pretty much for the entire professional season, and it tracks the professional season as well. So we have big stages like tonight when the pros are racing a monument. We race a monument, and like in the UCI World Tour, it's worth the big points, and those points add up to a tally for riders for their entire season. There's a season-long GC competition that goes on. So these races are second only to the World Championships in the number of points, up to 500 points for the winning rider, which is a huge number when you compare it to what else is available during the season. A low tier stage race, for example, might only be 60 points for winning one of those stages. This is 500 to the winner. So big stakes, big field. Like I mentioned, I will do my level best to cover all 5 grades. We've got A, B, C, D, and E based on velo rankings, all racing out of the same pen. With the field the size that it is, it's going to be a little bit chaotic. I will do my best. Zwift doesn't make it easy. You'll just see me clicking through the rider list, trying as hard as I can to follow these grades. I've got Zwift Powered Live up as well to help me track who's doing what. We'll probably start with the very front of the race. It's a little bit easier. So probably tracking the A's and the B's over these first couple of hills, and then we'll work our way back through the grades and try and capture all these stories that are going to emerge with these riders giving it their all. So we've got over 50 signed up, I think, in the A and B pens. Similar in C, a few less in D and E, but expecting some really fantastic competition tonight. If you are watching on YouTube, drop me a message in the chat. I do have that up. We'll be doing my best here to control all the buttons, deal with what Zwift might throw at me, hope that my computer doesn't completely crash running all these different pieces of software and screens, and we'll try and keep you engaged and interested in the action tonight. So yeah, drop a comment on YouTube if you're watching. I've got the chat up as well, and really excited as we are down to just 30 seconds to go. Comment from Seth in the chat. Joe Ross in E is the one to watch. Thank you, Seth. We will be watching for Joe. I'll make a note of that one. Some big names going out tonight. So some of them from the very top of the leaderboard in the series. So really looking forward to seeing how the riders go tonight as we just go 5 seconds left. And I have to quickly jump in with someone else because it's going to be sitting with me, and I'm obviously not racing until a bit later. We are often racing out of the pen. This big group is going to make it incredibly challenging for these riders on these first few climbs to know who is where and who's doing what, and trying to track things on the minimap, which if you've raced any of these big races, you'll know that the impact of those Zwift limits on only seeing the 100 riders closest to you can be a major problem if they're taking off. As we see Grupp taking off, we have red numbers already, 8 watts a kilo for Grupp. He's going to lead this one out. And he is not hanging around, so Grupp is leading the A-grade standings in the ECRO Tour for the year. And he's out to make a statement. So straight onto this descent. This is an incredibly tricky start to a race. So you can see fast start onto a descent, which can stretch things out again. And then you can see in the profile there, 2 short, sharp climbs coming up. So you have to be positioned near the front of the peloton. And already we see some gaps emerging here as we jump in with Tom de Wright currently leading the bees at the head of this big peloton, chasing our 2 A-grade leaders here. And starting to swarm towards the first of these climbs. If you are racing this one, this is the time not to panic. Yes, you want to be up near the front and close to the front of this group, but this reverse 23rd Street climb does start very gently. So you'll see the climb start banner just there. The riders have just gone past it. We're not really climbing intensely until we hit some of these steeper gradients later on. So we can see our 2 early agitators here have been reeled in. We're all back together as we head on to the lower slopes of the reverse 23rd Street climb. We'll jump in with the front. Sembino in C grade, jumping to the front of the peloton here, setting a nice pace as we see. Pretty solid group so far. Please ignore the Zwift pop-ups here. They just make it so annoying to control this camera. Every time I push the up button, I get that menu that I don't want at all. So nice big peloton heading on to reverse 23rd Street. You can see we're about to ramp up now, and this is where the differences are going to be made. We see Grupp go to the front. We see Fernandez going to the front now, 6-7 watts a kilo. These A-graders not hanging around, even though we've got 42 kilometers of racing tonight. Plenty of climbs. They're not going to stick around. They're going to be pushing from the very get-go. Let's have a look at what damage this is doing to a very stretched out peloton. Looks like the start of a Gran Fondo. This huge field now stretched out over 100 or so meters, heading up to the crest of this reverse 23rd Street climb. We can see some red numbers at the front already. Josiah Boda's up there with 8 watts a kilo. Some familiar names there if you've been racing the series. We see Fox. We see Sorensen. Good to see you out and about as well. So we can see a nice solid group of A's here at the front of the peloton. I might sort of zoom back here. We see Sandrine Etienne. Guaranteed she's going to be somewhere near the pointy end of the Bs. She's on her way up to A grade after the next transfer window. Adam Upshaw I raced against in Chasing Dwars during the week, and he did very, very well. Showed a lot of strength on those 10 laps that we did of Castle Crit. Great punchy climber. He's up there. Carlos Cunha, always competitive in these type of races, up there as well. We can see Pavel Morozov, who's been at the pointy end of just about every single one of these classics in the brigade. Phenomenal punchy climber, phenomenal sprinter. And he's sharp towards the front of the B-grade peloton again as we head now on to the reverse Libby Hill. This is the opposite of the 23rd Street Hill. You can't hang around at the bottom of this one. You have to go. And their A-graders aren't hanging around. We can see 8-9 watts a kilo here as we work our way back up to the front of this group and have a look at the damage that is being done. We see Kanchan setting the pace with Celebi in the wheel. And we can start to see this group fracturing behind a small gap here. It's probably not going to be enough. You can see that was just a short, sharp climb. Really critical if you're racing this later to be well positioned coming on to that initial corner, because it ramps up so quickly you can lose so much momentum. So a small group here at the front of the A peloton. Are they going to work together? We can see Celebi still pushing 5-6 watts a kilo here. Kanchan responding now and accelerating, but it looks like there's enough interest behind to bring this back together. Looks like we're going to have a solid group of A's clumping back together on this descent off Libby Hill. And let's see if we can work our way down now into the B's. So still a few A's hanging around with this group. We see Upshaw, Morozov, Tom to right in there, another one who's on his way up to A grade in our next transfer window. Some familiar names. Goran won Chasing Dwars during the week. Fantastic performance. And Sandrine Etienne, who I mentioned, just drifting off the back here, actually. Surprised to see it. She's a lightweight rider. Maybe not quite having the raw watts of the guys at the front, as we can see. This B-grade race is actually splitting up now. So to just see if anyone's held on, we'll go back to a peloton at the front, see who's made it from the A-grade. So we have Harris from CC, not Josh Harris, another Harris. Sillaby always up front. Sorensen competitive. Grupp, as I mentioned, leading the standings. And it looks like, yeah, a few bees made it to this elite front group as we sort of scan through here. We can see Adam Upshaw in with the front of the race. Tom to right, who I mentioned, also up there. Pavel Morozov up there. And that might be it. We might just have 3 bees who survived this first 2 climbs. So a critical selection already for the B grade races. And a bit of a gap now. So we'll check back in with that one. So nice big group of A's coming up to that next climb. We've got a little bit of recovery here along the flat. So let's kind of work our way down to the C grade. Is Miguel from the 2Gs team just off the back of this second B group now, working back on nicely. He's got some help here. Carrico, his teammate. It looks like these two are working together nicely, bringing Miguel back into this group, and they're chasing group 2 for the Bs. So Miguel takes a commanding lead in the C grade race. As we drop back through, we can see J Rides Virtual Sub. I don't know the name. Looks like they've got a YouTube channel though, so if you want to check them out, by all means, let's go check them out. So J Rides, Souza, currently occupying those 2nd and 3rd places on the C grade podium. And I'm just going to start writing some names down so we can track what is going on in this race. And Upshaw, I was just remembering who we had on our B grade podium. So kind of a clear podium split already in some of those races, but a long, long way to go. A lot of climbs to come. We'll see if those early efforts have taken their toll on anyone who might be, might still have hopes of a podium spot here. As we swing down now to the D grade race, looks like a good race here happening in D grade. You can see them just off the back of our C grade leader there. So Rodriguez, Silva, Mendez, all up in the top 3 for the Ds at the moment. As we swing back down, 23-second gap back to Coton in 4th for the Bs. With some company though, so we could still see this coming back together, but already critical selections happening early in this course. Worth noting if you are racing a little bit later tonight or today, depending on where you're tuning in from and when. Welcome if you are just tuning in. Really good to have you here. I love following these races. I'm really enjoying the commentary, watching everyone go out there and give it their best, and hopefully give you a little bit of joy as well if you hear your name called. We'll try and cover everyone tonight as best we can in a very big field. I do notice that Newbury is also here up in this group of Ds. So we've got 4 Ds together up the front of this race, and I haven't seen an E yet. So I think this is our group now. They're also coming along the flats. So Paparella is in there. Also, we've got in the E's, we have Ogley. Don't see our mate Joe Ross, who got a mention in the chat up the front. We might just have missed him. As you can see, you kind of get, oh no, here he is, Joe Ross, 22 seconds off the back of this group right now. So we'll keep an eye on that gap. Some work there to do for Joe Ross, but currently sitting in a podium spot in the E's. Pletzer just 7 seconds behind. So you can see these riders are about 95th. That gives us a nice little boxing of the riders that we have to track. So let's try and work our way back up to the front of the race now and check in on our A and B grade riders, and let's see what's happened. Remember, we had a big group of A's who are probably gone or about to get onto this next climb. So heading up Broad Street, not the same kind of severe gradients that you'll see on the other races, on the other climbs. You can see now sort of getting onto the second ramp here, so they're about halfway up. Much steadier climb, nothing quite as severe as the 20+% or high teens gradients we saw elsewhere, but big group A is still at the front. Maybe some damage happening in this B grade group though. We can see Tom to right still up there, Adam Upshaw in the second off Jay Noonan, who we're following at the moment. So the B's holding strong. They've got still a little bit to go though. As we see there's some damage happening now. Let's get up to the front of this group and see who is putting on the hurt. We can see Grupp, as always, prominent. Kanshin again has been an aggressor in this race. looks to be really keen to put some herd on. No one following now, kind of happy to follow here. And we can see Ace just come out of this group as we did get onto the second ramp and heading up. It looks like, despite the 2-second gap, we're not going to see any serious moves here. Maybe some riders thinking about holding onto something and resting their legs and keeping something in reserve now, because we are going to be going back around through that start-finish banner, back down that fast descent and doing these 3 climbs all over again. And that'll be the second of 3 laps around this circuit before we do head out for some flat recovery in the fan flats. So a little bit of stretch here if these riders have the desire to try and form a break. It is stretching a bit as we come over that crest. It sometimes can happen. We need to be really, really watchful at these times. Kanchan looks like they've just got energy to burn, setting a wicked tempo on the front here. But just easing off a little bit now, and we do see this group starting to come back together. You can see on my riders list, we're having all sorts of fun here with this change in route. We'll jump in with Pavel Morozov. He's right up there in the season standings for ECRO Tour, and again, he's strong tonight. He's had a great Classics campaign so far, generally at the pointy end. So we expected to see him up here. He's had to work very, very hard. We saw a little bit of a gap there, a little bit of drift, but our top 3 Bs now, Morozov, Upshaw, and De Wright, do have a 38-second lead on this chasing group. So we'll make a note of that. And for the A's, still nothing decisive just yet. Although we can see on the front, this pace hasn't slacked off. They're still working through this flat section. It won't be long before we're climbing again, so we might start to see the damage that's been inflicted there. As we get onto these next climbs, we will drop back down and see who we can find in the other grades and see if any more damage has been done. We still have Miguel in the C graders, holding on to this sort of major second group of Bs on the road. We sort of saw they had a 37-second deficit up to our B graders, the rest of our B graders. So not over yet by any means. There's plenty of numbers back here. And if our top 3 Bs aren't able to handle the pace up this next climb, they could very, very well find themselves jumping back on. You know, these Classics races are never over until they're over. We've got Libby Hill in 23rd and Broad Street to finish off. So absolutely anything could happen here yet. And this is a really solid group here with Miguel from Chugaz holding a commanding gap over his competition. It looks like this is our next group of Bs chasing the podium. Adrian from Coalition, Alex from Dirt, J Rides. We have Leo, we have Butler. So a little bit of a coming together in the C grader. So one clear breakaway winner in Miguel, but then a big group forming here. So we've got half a dozen riders that look like chasing those podium spots in the C grade race. In D, we had Rodriguez off the front. Initially, let's see if we can go back and find what is going on in the D grade race. We knew Coton was in the following pack when we looked before. It looks like we had a bit of a coming together here. So Rodriguez, Mendes, Newbury, and Silva. So this group of 4, they've got some riders around them too. So some strength here in the D grade race. And these 4 riders making a break for it. Looks like they've got, ZP Live is telling me 1 minute and 44 on their next D grade rivals. That seems like a very big number, but it could be true. They do have a lot of riders here and some strong riders. So 4 riders going for it in D grade coming down this descent. Our A's and B's will be going up there next to the climbs too. Let's quickly check in with the E grade race. We had Rogley and Papanola. So Ogley here. Can't read my own writing. Trying to very quickly keep tabs on all these races going on. So we still see Ogley leading the A grade group. Actually have dropped. So Paparella, so maybe coming up that Broad Street climb. Paparella couldn't quite hold on, has dropped down now. And then Joe Ross 70 seconds behind, with Pletzer now looking like they could probably bridge this gap with some company up to Joe Ross. They could have a real race on there, chasing Paparella in second spot, and they may be working together to chase Ogley, who is currently leading this E-grade race. So some really good podium contests going on. Let's make our way back up to the front of the race and watch these riders take on lap number 2 of these initial cobbled climbs. Would love if there was a much easier way to do this. All right, looks like our front riders are on the steep slopes of Libby Hill Reverse right now. Let's jump to the front, and it looks like we've got a little bit of a gap. So Grupp and Celebi have put in a bit of a move here. And this one looks promising. These are two incredibly strong riders. They've got a 5-second gap. Easily the most promising move we've seen out of the A-grade group so far. The E-grade race getting some love in the comments. I will have to make sure that we follow that one for you guys. I promise we'll get back to them very, very soon, as we can see these two riders just holding a 4-second gap. Big group working behind. Maybe too much impetus here, as we see Kanchan, Josiah Boda, Gagnon, some really big names, familiar names to anyone who's been racing in this series. Pushing the pace now to try and close this gap down to 3 seconds now. It looks like, despite a really nice aggressive move there, up Libby Hill Street reverse, we are going to get it coming back together. And let's have a look. Has this done any damage to our B grade? As we can see, Tom to right, holding on well, participating in this chase. Looks like he's going to get back on as well. And what about his companions? Oh, he's got a gap. Fantastic climbing from Tom to right. He has managed to hold on when others could not. So we see Morozov and Upshaw now in second chasing group, with 44 seconds back to a much larger group that we were in with before. So let's have a look now. What is this group looking like over the hills? They've also fractured. So we have riders everywhere. As predicted, these punchy climbs absolutely shattering this race. Maybe not much on lap 1, but coming around the second time, a real breaking up now. This is our chasing pack of bees looking for that podium spot, currently racing for 4th in this group, with 44 seconds to make up on a very small group now, with Morozov and Upshaw with a couple of A's for company as well. Let's quickly flick back to the front and see, yes, everyone has come back together back then. So still no decisive move in this A-grade race. We still have a peloton of 20 A-grade riders, according to ZP Live, still contesting this one. So we'll be back with them to check very, very shortly. Let's make our way down through the field. So in the C-grade race, Miguel still with this chasing group of Bs that we mentioned just before, who are also coming back together and working together well now on this descent. So he's got a handy lead. ZP Live showing him with a 1:04 gap now, which is fantastic effort. Obviously climbing terrifically well here, holding this very strong group of Bs with some names that are recognized as being very competitive in this series. So really nice effort there from Miguel. Let's see if we can find his C-grade rival. So it looks like they are just a little bit further down the road. We jump in with Mike from Coalition. He seems to be in this group, and a nice group forming here. So it's a big gap, but as we've seen, anything can happen here, particularly on these climbs as the group does break up. And we've got a very long way to go, only 12 kilometers in. We've still got 30 kilometers of racing to go, plenty of climbing, plenty of opportunity now if you do drop off for these riders to work together and really win. So Miguel with a very handy lead in the C-grade race, and we can see several riders now competing for this podium in C-grade. We see Marquez, we see Butler, Adrian, his Coalition teammate, Cox, Alex, plenty of Cs. All right, so plenty of action still happening in the C-grade race. A 1:15 gap now. So it's going to be a challenge to to take that top spot at this podium is definitely up for grabs for this group. In the D graders, we had our group of 4 all racing well together. And let's see how they've survived on these punchy climbs. Oh, it looks like it's made a difference here as well. Silva and Rodriguez both part of that group. I'll try and make our way up here and see, has anyone else made the split? Yes, Mendes and Dewberry. So we have had a split. Mendes and Dewberry holding on to this group. Nice group too. So really nicely done by these guys. They've held on up those punchy climbs. They've got some friends here. A nice mixed BC and D grade group working well together on these flats. They're going to maintain their speed here. Silva now working very, very hard. Just this, if you've raced on Zwift, if you've raced in real life, you know this feeling. They are so near and yet so far. For Silva, sitting 3rd in the D grade race at the moment. Just looking at this 3-second gap that just doesn't want to budge. He's putting up some nice spots here. Rodriguez just 5 or 6 seconds behind. Again, it seems so close. You can see them up the road. Can he put in this final big dig to get back to these riders? It looks like Silva could. It feels like he's closing ever so slightly on this group. Big effort here, 170 beats a minute. Really putting in a dig to try and latch back onto this group. It'd probably secure him, or close to secure him, a podium spot if he can get there. He might just stick in with this just for a little longer and see if he can make it. He's got 6 seconds on Rodriguez. I did see it tick to 7. 4 seconds to the front group. Is he going to make it? Needed a little bit of a dig there, and we see some movement off the front of this group as well, which might just see them accelerate. Silva just not quite able to close this gap. With Mendes and Newbury safely ensconced in that group, ahead and racing away. The gap just slightly extending now. So we might see Silva and Rodriguez working together and fighting out 3rd spot in the D grade. Looks like Silva's given up the chase just for now. He's gonna drop back. Really brave effort. Really brave effort. Will drop back to the E's now, where Ogley was leading and continues to lead. So Ogley now with a gap. Paparella in 2nd, 23rd. And our mate Joe Ross, plenty of fans in the comments, sitting in 3rd at 30 seconds. So that gap was extended. Last time we checked in on Joe, he was 22 seconds behind. Ogley's managed to extend that lead over these climbs. Paparella sitting in 2nd with a 30-second gap, 20 seconds behind Ogley. Riding very, very well and has gotten away here. So the E-grade race splitting up big time over these climbs, not surprising. Smaller field, and as we know, these are punishing parkour for the very best of riders. So sitting in 92nd overall though, so doing really well in this against this big field of A's and B's. Over 100, I think, up in these top 2 categories. Let's make our way back up to the front. Actually, while we're here, because I know we've got fans in the comments, we'll check in with Joe. Check in with Joe Ross. Kevin Wetham just behind him, or with him actually. Someone I've ridden with before. Shout out to Kevin. Working with Joe here, see if we can close this gap. We see Paparella now just extending it out by a second as they come down off their Libby Hill descent. A couple of riders behind who might be willing to work with them. Pletzer also interested in a podium spot for the E's, currently sitting in 4th. A nice group forming here that can maybe do some work as we grind our way back up Broad Street onto those flat roads and come around for that next lot of climbs. All right, let's make our way back up through these riders. The A and B group are over the top of Broad Street. So let's have a look and see how that race is coming together. Whether we've had any further damage and changes in this front group. Tom to right now taking a commanding lead, so we can see that much. It's some aggression here on the flat sections. Never mind these climbs. These guys are not hanging around. Let's see who is putting the hurt in here. Cancian again, the aggressor. Our Canadian rider pushing hard on this descent. It's done the job. A 2-second gap here. Opening up. So despite the challenges of these cobbled climbs and coming around to this final set of cobbled climbs back to back, Cancian's still got some legs pushing off the front. Not a rider that I know well, but maybe let's check in. So Eugene Cancian out of Canada came into this predicted 4th on Velo ratings. Has had, have a look at the history here. So came 4th in Chasing Dwars earlier this week. That was Eugene's. Had a DNF in Chasing Saxo. There has been competed hard in the Zwift games. Not surprising seeing the strength Eugene is showing here tonight, but looks like only their 3rd ECRO race, following 4th in Chasing Dwars, like I mentioned. So a strong rider, got some pedigree there, but ultimately caught now as we see this group back together, heading back up 23rd Street for the 3rd time. And then we are going to take on those flat roads, like I mentioned. You would think recovery, but with this group, I don't know, they seem to be attacking the flats even harder than they are attacking the climbs. The big group in the A's still holding together. According to DP Live, we still have 20 A's somehow surviving this battering. There's some incredible numbers here. Eugene's averaged 4.9 watts a kilo and 386 watts in nearly half an hour of racing, and still hasn't been able to split this one apart. So that goes to show you just the level of effort that's going on in here. We saw Tom to right with that group, and he looks like he's got a commanding lead here. This race is definitely his to lose. It could be a monument winner tonight. Adam Upshaw and Pavel Morozov now 35 seconds ahead of that chasing group, 33 seconds now. So I think it was 38 last time we checked in. So these two working with Bas Ingels from the backpedal team, trying to stay away from what is a pretty keen and pretty strong chasing group, mixed group there. Plenty of motivation though for those B grade riders, now 33 seconds away from a podium spot. And like I mentioned, some very, very nice points in the B grade race as we go back to this group on the road. This is our chasing B group, currently racing for 4th, and our C grade leaders. Miguel was also ensconced in this group, extending his lead as you'd imagine. So with some very strong riders here, managing to hold on up the climbs, which is all you got to do. And they're pulling him the rest of the way. So Miguel's opened up a 1 minute 41 second gap now on the rest of C grade. So he's just got to keep doing what he's doing and hold on to that spot. And he has got this race just about sewn up, but we know that we have a big group chasing for the rest of these podium spots. So I'm going to see Cox here. I think it's an Australian flag. He's got the aero kit on. He's not hanging around. He's going to make a move here for this 2nd spot. We saw 4 watts a kilo there. Again, this seems to be like a critical location if you are racing later. We've seen a few surges onto this descent after the lap banner. Cox looking to put a little bit of hurt in, a bit of distance, maybe chasing on this bigger group. It's got a lot of gap time to make up. Maybe just looking to hurt a few of his competitors and make them put in a few more extra digs to chase on before we do hit these climbs, and maybe make a bit of a selection, because we do have a number of C grade riders here racing for the rest of the podium spots. So Cox, Butler, J Rides, Mike, a few names we've seen before, Marquez. A lot of chopping and changing in this group now. Might just see if we can grab ZP Live. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 C grade riders chasing 2nd and 3rd spot for those podium points in this one. So a really nice race here, emerging a little bit further down the field. Let's see. Oh, we actually got our Okay, so we've got our D grade leaders in here as well. So that's C grade chasing the rest of those podium spots are in with our D grade leaders, Mendes and Newbury, who had broken away. And we watch them now heading up. Where are we? 23rd Street for the third time. So nice climbing from these two. They've got 21-second gap now back. Silva and Rodriguez, who are all on their own, but look to be working together because that gap has really not gone out very much at all, despite the fact that there's a very strong group here and that C group does have some reasons to chase. So down to 20 seconds now, we see up this climb. Some nice work here from Silva and Rodriguez. Nice partnership, trying to chase on to that leading duo and all their mates in that big group ahead, which, as I mentioned, does have a number of C grade riders chasing podium spots. So some hard racing still happening on there. As these guys are closing that gap nicely, 17 seconds now. Really nice effort here. So we might see a D grade coming together. We'll keep an eye on this one. That gap continues to shrink. Really nice climbing effort here. Maybe a little bit of heat coming out from the group ahead as that C grade race does slip away with Miguel over a minute up and off the front. Heading back down now to our E graders. I was looking on ZP Live. It looks like I've missed someone. I did. Adam Kaz. Somehow I missed the E in all of my scrolling. Adam Kaz actually currently leading this E grade race and leading by some margin, about 1 minute and 40 seconds. So we see Adam all on his own now, but he has a commanding lead here over our chasing group. So we saw Steve Ogley, who I thought was leading this race, actually 1 minute and 37 down now on Adam Kaz. Adam Kaz from the Sisu team has gotten away. He snuck past me, trying to track these races. So Adam Kaz currently leading E grade. Steve Ogley, 1 minute and 40 odd seconds behind him. And then last time we checked, we had Paparella at 23 seconds and Joe Ross a further 30 seconds behind. So Joe Ross, for all his mates in the comments, currently 30 seconds off the podium. I thought he was in third spot. Let's see if we can find him now. We can see Pletzer there, who Joe Ross was riding with. And indeed, they found a nice little group here. So Joe now 26 seconds behind Paparella. So making up some ground, chasing that podium spot. We've still got a lot of riding left to go. We're not even halfway through. We still have plenty of challenge left ahead. These guys have got to go over their third lot of climbs and then head back out through the fan flats, and we'll see how this one shakes out. We'll give him a ride on. Well done, Joe. Well done from all your friends in the comments. See if you can close that 23 second gap now as we look at it to Paparella, who's all on, no, not all on their own, does have some friends up the road, a couple of C grade friends. But Joe working hard there to try and close down and find that podium spot. Let's work our way back up to the front. I can see we've still got a big leading group here on CP Live. I do want to get back into these A's and just sort of see who is going to strike the decisive blow. They've just been throwing haymakers at each other left and right, this group, and still no one has been able to land a blow, as we can see that pattern continuing. So this group is still together. Looks like Tom to right for the Bs is still up in here and extending his lead, 1 minute 47 seconds on this chasing B group. And a familiar jersey up the front. Eugene Canchin again pushing up these climbs, trying to get something to happen, trying to get a little bit of a break to form, trying to knock off maybe some sprinters. Let's have a look here in this group. Who do we have? So we do have Josiah Bodie here, who boasts a 14.5 watt per kilo sprint. The other strong one is Jinhee Han from China, Richard Wilson from Sisu. Some big numbers as we look further down. Thomas Sorensen also from Sisu, Adrienne from FFZ, up around the 13-14 watt per kilo mark as well. So you can understand Eugene, only a 10.2 watt per kilo sprint, something nothing to sneeze at, but you can see maybe why Eugene is so keen to drop these riders and is putting the effort in on the climbs, but this group is just too strong at the moment. Yet to land a real blow and yet to really crack them. So really fantastic race here in the A. It's definitely the most open one that we've seen of all the grades so far. We do have some dominant leaders in our other grades tonight, so we'll stick with this group for now and just sort of see as they come together up Broad Street for the third time. As a reminder, we're now going to head out through the fan flats portion of the course, which, that's no good. I'm yawning and I'm supposed to be racing in slot 2 in 2 hours' time. I'm going to find a way to wake up. So we are going to head out through the fan flats. So possibly it feels like it would normally be a time to recover. And maybe it will be for our sprinters who've managed to hold on to these climbs. They'll be looking to hold this together. We'll see if Eugene Kanchan can find any friends willing to bust this apart, and maybe he's got one now. In Gagnon, who is pushing up to the front. Alexandre Gagnon, also from Canada. Attacking over the crest of that climb. Taking it up, you can see Christian Grupp on his wheel, pushing hard and a little bit of stretch now. I raced with this group when we did, I think it was chasing Saxo on this course, and this actually was, despite what it looks like on the profile, a really defining moment of the race. Lots of attacks on these flat roads, and we can see a few riders here maybe keen to turn this into a bit of an FTP test. Again, I'm continuing to drive the pace up over 6 watts a kilo. But that elastic just doesn't want to snap in this group. It stretches and it stretches and it stretches, but it doesn't snap. So looking like things are going to come back together for now, unless we do have counter attack again. But it looks like riders just willing to take a breath now. A little bit of pause on these flat roads. And if they do decide to ease off here and just do take a few breaths, we could see some real fireworks on Libby Hill. We'll have to make sure that we don't miss that. And we do see an orange jersey going off the front as I say that. Some big numbers again. They're not content. They're not content at all. It's Le Griffin. A name I haven't called yet tonight, I don't think. Adrian Le Griffin. Another one of our top riders here in this peloton. I think he might have been even rated number 1. It's hard to look away from this group now because there is some serious action happening. And I'm just going to go back and find our list. So yes, Adrian Le Griffin is our number 1 rated rider in this peloton. Kieran Meaney from Sisu, who's been either very low profile or didn't rock up tonight, is ranked 2nd. Christian Grupp, who you've seen plenty of, is ranked 3rd. Christian Sorensen in this group 4th. Eugene Kanchan 5th. So some strong riders here. And further attacks happening. Alexandre Gagnon, again for Canada. Pushing off the front, and now we see a gap. Now we've got a real gap. Christian Grupp in his wheel, 2 seconds now. Continuing to push on at 6 watts a kilo. And could this be the decisive move that's really going to make a difference in this A-grade race? We've seen all the other grades blown apart. And I can see behind actually our B-grade race getting very, very close. We're going to tune back into that one very shortly as we see the outcome of this move. Can Gagnon and Grupp finally snap this relentless pace and this incredible group that's worked together, or I don't know if they've worked together, who's fought so hard for so long. Grupp now coming through for a turn. Not offering a turn, actually. Easing off and just rolling through. So Christian Grupp looking to hold this one together, actually. Not keen to see it blow apart, so that's interesting. Some interesting dynamics happening in this group. Still no damage, though, to our B-grade leader, Tom to right. We jump back in now with Pavel Morozov currently chasing third. So this group, last time we checked, actually they had a 38-second gap on the chasing group of Bs. So this one is far from over. It's only 15 seconds now. So a big group of Bs eyeing off the podium. So still 15 kilometers to go and some critical climbs as well. So anything could happen still in this B grade podium. Morozov and Upshaw looking to hold on to a shrinking gap. Let's jump in and have a look at some of the names that we have chasing. So looks like James Kim is in this group. Check out a YouTube channel if you want to see James putting in his best. He always gives it 120%. Certainly knows how to hurt. Love watching James's channel. Kind of scares me often about what's to come. Makes me a little bit nervous about racing when I see just how hard he has to work. Who do we have? We have Carlos Cunha, we have Maxi, we have Joao Carrico, who was a fantastic competitor earlier this week on Dwars, racing in slot 2. Enjoyed some battles with Joao on that climb. Sandrine Etienne, who absolutely dominated chasing Dazur. Goran Salaveko, I mentioned, won chasing Dwars earlier in the week. So really strong group of Bs here. Some names that we would all recognize if you've been racing in the tour all season, and they're pushing hard up this climb. Some really good numbers here at the front. Sandrine Etienne at 6 watts a kilo for the Magic Cream team, setting a blistering pace. Still not eating into that gap though, still 15 seconds to Morozov and Upshaw. Big efforts now on this hill. After all the climbing we've done, sort of don't expect that it's going to be this little ramp of 2% that's going to be the one that splits things, but we're seeing a big stretch here and maybe not quite enough of a gap here to break it, but some are struggling to hold the wheel. We'll jump in here with Fred from JBL. It looked like maybe that wheel was going to go. James Kim, 187 beats per minute. You might be grabbing the bucket on his channel right now if you switch over to James. Working incredibly hard up that rise. Just trying to hold on to this group, and it looks like they're going to be successful. A little bit of damage further back. Kariko now just holding on. We can see this group now. Looks like the damage has been done. Carlos Cunha off the back. So some damage, but they're coming back together. And only an 11-second gap now. 10 seconds to Adam Upshaw and Pavel Morozov. So the B-grade podium, very much up for grabs. I know I've been with these guys for a long time. I'm going to just quickly check in on our A-grade while we're here. It looks like we do have a successful break, actually. Thought I might have seen something on ZP Live. And yes, we do. Christian Grupp, who interestingly went to the front and slowed down the move before, it's now off the front solo. So a big effort there from Christian. He's leading the ECRO Tour for a reason. #1 in the GC standings. That's opened up a big gap here, 11 seconds. This looks like it could be the decisive move in this A-grade race. They've still got some climbs to go, and there's still a big group behind. So if they work together, they could still bring this one back. It's definitely not over with, as we see Eugene Kenshin taking up the initiative here to try and close this second group. But a nice 11-second lead there for Christian Grupp, continuing to push. We know he's got some big solo watts. So we'll see how this group works together here. Can they get together? Can they share the load here on closing this gap? So we'll keep an eye on that. Quick check in here. This B-grade group who are chasing. Oh, wow. They actually made up that gap in no time at all. So it looks like Morozov and Upshaw maybe accepted their fate there, or there was another big dig from the likes of Etienne on the front, and our B-graders chasing second are now in a big group. So number of contenders here for the podium. We have 9 riders chasing that second spot. So fireworks still to come, as these riders are now going to head back out down the Broad Street descent and onto Libby Hill, 23rd Street and Broad Street. That famous triple climb back to back to finish this one off. Let's work our way down the field now and see who we can find and see how the rest of these grades are going. So in C grade, we saw Pedro Miguel with a commanding lead. He has continued in that spot. So he's in with this group that we were just sitting in actually. So now with the Bs chasing second spot on the peloton, in the race. So fantastic race there from Pedro Miguel. But behind him, we've got another fantastic podium race shaping up. So Ian Cox out of Australia, defending hard, all on his own. He's got a 15-second gap here on a chasing pack of Cs. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 Cs chasing down Ian. He's got 17 seconds right now, putting in a really big dig. Up at 166 beats a minute, so he's working hard here. Really challenging individual time trial for Ian now, trying to get away and trying to hold on to the second spot on this one. The gap's extending though, so really nice work there. This group behind, not yet showing the initiative to bring him back. And we see our D grade leaders are also in here. So last time we checked in, we had Dewberry and Mendez in this leading group. And we had a 21-second gap to Rodriguez and Silva, who are working behind them. So let's check in. We can see that Jose Mendez from Tugas actually dropped from that leading group. So maybe on the Broad Street climb, maybe things ramped up. We have Chris Newbury now, commanding lead in the D grade race, 22 seconds, but he's got a lot of C grade help, and they've got plenty of incentive to ride for their podium spots there. So Chris Newbury in a fantastic position in D grade with 24-second gap now, or 21-second gap now. So anything could happen in this one. We have Andre Silva, Jose Mendez, Alberto Rodriguez, all from the Tugas team, chasing this one down with a couple of other riders behind. So plenty happening in D grade. As we switch now to the E's, Adam Kaz continues to show a strong lead. It's not quite as strong as it was before. A minute 15 seconds now to Steve Ogley in second spot. So it looks like Adam might have found a fast group early, and that gap is starting to come down now. Looks like they're on just a different part of the course. It's hard for me to get to our next E-graders. So we're stuck with Adam. I can read off ZP Live though. So Adam Kaz currently leading, has a 1 minute and 26-second gap on Steve Ogley in second. Just 19 seconds to Joe Ross. Our man Joe Ross, he's now opened up a 12-second gap on Dario Paparella. So that's a fantastic effort because he was as much as 30 seconds behind Dario. So it must have been a fantastic climb there from Joe Ross. We'll see if we can get back into them. And not just yet. Zuf says no for the time being. Maybe we just need them to shift on to this new route section. As we see Adam Kaz working his way up this 2% kind of grind through the false flats, defending a dominant gap there. So actually VP Live showing Joe Ross and Dario Paparella now in the same group. So battling for third and just 26 seconds behind Steve Ogley in second. So we'll try and get back there a bit later on because it looks like a really good podium race happening there. Stefan Pletzer now about 50 seconds behind that Joe Ross and Dario Paparella group, back in 5th position. So still plenty happening here. These podium spots are by far a long way from decided in all of these grades, which is going to be an interesting challenge as we work our way back to the front of the race to try and track as we head back over Libby Hill, 23rd, and Broad Street. And I'm trying to hold on to all of these and not click the wrong thing because who knows where I could end up. All right, looks like we're just going to have to wait a little while, wait for a little route change here to get these riders back in this front group. So where are we? Okay, this is the B grade group racing for second, and also our C grade leaders group in Miguel here. So riders coming down now for a bit of a descent. Chance to rest the legs before we get to the fireworks of Libby Hill. So pretty good group of Bs. Just to recap, we have Tom to right, who held on to the front of the race, is still up in that leading A group. Now 3.5 minutes up the road. So Tom looks like he has secured the victory in this one. Just has to hold on now. I hope nothing goes wrong. But Tom, incredibly strong, holding on to that front group of A riders. But then big fight here for the rest of the podium spots. We have Sandrine Etienne, Mike Ambrose, Joao Carico, Maxi, Morten Anderson, Adam Upshaw, James Kim, Frederick Jubel, Pavel Morozov, and Goran Salavek, all chasing the remainder of those podium spots as we head out to Libby Hill. I have no idea where. This is the challenge of these routes that aren't linear, or a circuit on Zwift. I don't know where our A grade riders have gone. I might be able to get them back on Zwift Companion, maybe. I'm just sorry. Excuse the frenetic clicking. I'm just going to quickly see if I can flick through here and find a name that I recognize. They might be further down the list, thanks to the vagaries of Zwift that make commentary almost impossible. But we try. All right, we found them. Christian Grupp onto Libby Hill. All right, we'll see if we can stick with this one. I think if we stick with this to the end, we've got about 3.5 minutes. We should be able to get back to the spicy finish to the B grade race. So last time we were with the A's, we saw Christian Grupp with a 12-second lead. So Scotty Tremaine, Adam Kaz is still in Group 1. Yes. Adam Kaz. We'll let Scotty know that Adam is doing well as we sit in watch with Christian Grupp, who managed to break away on the flat section. After all the battles, we didn't actually quite see it. It heads now to the steeper sections here of Libby Hill. If you've ridden this one, you know the pain of this cobbled section. This road ramps up over 10%. He's up out of the saddle, 60 RPM, slow cadence grind. Sort of holding that gap steady, so it's only 10 or 11 seconds when we last saw it. And the effort's now coming from behind to see if they can close it. So we've still got 2 climbs to go after this one, remember, so anything could happen still. Let's see. Still a big group too here, and plenty of opportunities to draft if they can work together. So 9-second gap now to Grupp, Celebi, Gagnon, Sorensen, the Griffin, Bouvier, Poole, Benham, Sorensen, Boda, all working really well here. And finally, Tom to right, who is leading the B grade race, has been dropped from this group. Still got a 3.5 minute lead, so Tom looks like he will be our locked-in winner for the B grade race as he comes down to his last few kilometers. Just needs to get up over these last couple of climbs. But that podium still very much up for grabs. We tune in now for this chase. So Grupp's lead cut to 7 seconds. Celebi taking over the initiative on the chase, 5.5 watts a kilo on this flat section. Looking to build a bit of momentum and speed down onto this descent into the 23rd Street climb. Maybe sensing a bit of weakness from the front. Christian Grupp into the super tuck, rolling down this hill, an 8-second gap. Sitting with Eugene Canchin, who's been one of the main aggressors here today. We'll be looking to get away on these climbs. You'd think doesn't have the biggest sprint in this group. Celebi now really putting in a big dig here, trying to close this gap, maybe trying to work up to Christian Grupp on his own, but some big numbers coming here. It's a huge move from back. A huge move. Who have we got? We have Christian Sorensen taking up the lead. Christian Grupp quickly brought back here on this 23rd Street, where we saw Peter Sagan so famously make his winning move in the World Championships all those years ago. And a big group together once again, so Grupp couldn't get away. Almost surprising. He's been a dominant rider in this series so far. And we're going to have a big group coming to the line here. So our latest count, ZP Live saying 9 riders. I think we've got more than that here chasing this A-grade title. We've got 1 climb left as we sit in with Chris Benham from Relentless leading them down the back of 23rd Street. And just 1 hill to go. It doesn't have the same gradients as those previous 2 climbs. So who's going to be able to take it? Maybe the punchy sprinters haven't been shaken out yet. On these ones, there's still some fantastic sprint talent in this field as we do head down to our last few kilometers. I think we'll stick in with this race now till the end, and then we'll try and catch the rest of the podium battles that are going on behind. Riders making good time, so I should still have plenty of time to warm up for my 10 p.m. race in slot number 2. See the familiar jersey of Eugene Canchin in the front again. Just sort of rolled through, found a couple of meters there, but not a real move. Maybe we're preparing for something. This is the last chance now. We're going to find out who is our winner of Chasing Vlaanderen, the ECRO version of the Tour of Flanders. 1 hill left to go. Still a big group. Christian Sorensen now taking up the initiative early. So if you don't have the sprint, you've got to go now. It's not a long hill, but it's certainly enough to do some damage. Christian takes this right-hand turn. Adrian Le Griffin in the wheel. Small group of 3 now emerging. Thomas Sorensen. Friend of mine from the Kaboom Discord. Give us a shout in the chat if you're a fan. David Amato cheering on Adrian Le Griffin. He's looking well. Christian Sorensen continues to lead. With his namesake Thomas just in the wheel. A little bit of damage behind now. We've still got time. Still time for this group to come back together as it does crest. This climber's now trying to make the decisive move. We're coming down onto the finishing straight now. Just a few hundred meters to go. I'm going to have to swing around. Make sure we look at this banner because it's going to kick me out of the race if I don't. Be disastrous for our coverage of Christian Sorensen leading. But it's the Griffin. The Griffin 11 watts per kilo now kicking off the sprint. 12 watts per kilo. He's gone. He's absolutely gone. Adrian Le Griffin. Off the incredibly battle that we've had over the climbs here. He's the only one who's had the legs. He's gone early. He's gone big. He's gone long. Andre Le Griffin takes it by 2 seconds. Absolutely dominant win. Fantastic. Thomas Sorensen looks like he's going to be second. Christian Grupp third. And a bunch finish behind in the A-grade race. Fantastic sprint there. Adrian Le Griffin. Wow. Huge watts to finish this race. Just a tremendous sprint as we jump in now on 23rd Street with our B-grader. So Tom Turite continuing to lead, Adam Upshaw putting in a big dig here up 23rd Street, trying to distance his B-grade rival. So remember, these group are racing for second and the remaining positions on this race. There's some damage here. This is stretched out. Who's left? Adam Upshaw. He set the pace. He's holding on. Pavel Morozov on his wheel. Sandrine Etienne in there as well. She might be looking to make a move on this final climb. Not the strongest sprinter here, but certainly one of the strongest riders. Looks like this could be a decisive gap here. Carico and JBL just trying to work their way back on this flat section. A 9-second gap there to Ambrose. So looks like our podium is going to come from this group. Goran Salovek as well in the group. So still a lot of good riders here. But an elite selection now chasing these final podium spots. James Kim has made it too. So nice ride there from James. Still in the mix. So a few names here that we've seen before. They've been at the pointy end of a lot of these classics races. They've been at the pointy end of the season standings for ECRO. So we've got 6 B grade riders here. Oh no, 5 B grade riders here and a couple of A's. Coming up to our final Broad Street climb. Adam Upshaw, Pavel Morozov, Goran Salovek, James Kim, and Sandrine Etienne, our 5 B grade riders looking to fill out the rest of the podium here on the Tour of Flanders, Swiss style, around the cobbled climbs of Richmond. It's been a fantastic course for this race. Maybe didn't do the damage that we thought it might, but now it's all broken apart. These final climbs have proved to be decisive. Adam Upshaw taking up the initiative here, hitting up Broad Street, 1 climb left. We saw him go hard, big red numbers, double-digit watt per kilo up 23rd Street, trying to break these riders. He did a lot of damage. He wasn't able to shake them all, though. He's got the company of some very good sprinters here. We know James Kim's got a big sprint. We know Adam Upshaw's got a good sprint. We know Pavel Morozov's got an exceptional sprint, and he's shown it many, many times in this series. So there's a few guys here that you do not want to be going to the line with. And maybe Adam Upshaw trying his best along now with Sandrine Etienne. She's collected all the jerseys for the women, it seems. Might be weighing her down on this climb. She's picked up 4. She's dominated most of the races she's been in. Incredibly strong rider. Has a history on the World Tour, actually, in racing some names you'd well know. We're probably going around in the Women's Tour of Flanders right now, actually. So a top quality rider. She's showing the boys exactly what it takes to compete here at the pointy end of the B grade Tour of Flanders as we swing around now. So no one able to make that decisive move coming up to this sprint. We saw a nice long sprint on tired legs take the win in the A grade peloton. These races, racing for second. Remember, in the B grade race, Tom Wright sticking with the A graders and taking out that category. Who's going to make the move? Oh, Pavel Morozov distanced on the climb, our number 1 sprinter in the field. So he has been gapped. That pressure from Adam Upshaw and Sandrine Etienne was too strong. We'll see just a few hundred meters to go. Who's going to kick it off? We'll sit him with James Kim. We know that he's got a phenomenal sprint. He's done well. He's been on podiums before. James Kim closing down Goran, closing down Adam Upshaw. James Kim kicking away, taking second. Goran Salovek third. Incredible sprint there on tired legs. Morozov probably would have had it for second. He had the numbers, but just distance on that Broad Street climb. Couldn't quite hold it on. So another fantastic closing sprint there in the B graders. Jumping in now with Pedro Miguel for the C. So Pedro, absolutely dominant performance here. Held on to this really strong chasing group of Bs. We can see now that he's just been dropped off by a few seconds. But he's able to enjoy this now. Throw the hands up, Pedro. You can enjoy this one. You can celebrate it. He's got a 3-minute gap now to the rest of the C-grade podium. Gets to roll in and enjoy a very hard-earned victory. He's a Tour of Flanders champion, 500 points in the ECRO standings, going to Pedro. Very nicely done. And now let's see what's happened to this group. So if you remember, in our C-grade race, we had, like in a lot of the races actually, a big group chasing for podium slots. So who have we got here? We can see Jay rides from Virtual Sub. I'm just trying to figure out. Oh, this is Joe. Okay. Joe Suleiman's also, I'm probably pronouncing that terribly. Sorry, Joe. From Belgium. Looking like a bit of a dig there. Just coming down or up over the crest of 23rd Street. A little bit of a gap here now, forcing some riders to go. I don't know who's telling to go. Maybe it's himself. Some positive self-talk here. As Mike from Coalition now takes it up. So heading on to our final Broad Street climb for the C-grade riders. Still a few riders here in contention. So if you're watching, we do have Felix Pomerenke, Ian Cox, Sean Griffiths, Mike Gloin, Wayne D'Agostini, Joe Solomons, Andre Sousa, Samuel Okay, Hugeni, I'm sorry, it's terrible French, and Luis Marquez from the Tugues team, all in this group, chasing our final podium spots for C behind a dominant ride from Pedro Miguel. So working your way up this slope now. If you've ridden this course, especially over a few laps, you know just how painful this is. As we see, it looks like Wayne D'Agostini, fellow countryman, taking up the lead on this final climb. Doesn't want to send it to a sprint. Wants to get second here and now. Putting the gap is up over 5 watts a kilo. Fantastic climbing effort here from Wayne. 179 beats a minute. Pushing. We see some damage here at the back. Right, it's coming together now, though. We have Wayne D'Agostini, we have Ian Cox, Mike Gloyn, Sean Griffiths in a group here, and a few just holding on. So it looks like there might be these 5 who are going to be going for the podium here. Hugweni just 2-3 seconds back. It looks like it's going to be too big a gap to close. So decisive again, this final climb. And riders that have held on through so many times up these punchy cobbled climbs, just getting distance on this final climb and the pressure that's going on there. So now even more damage. So remember, we've had one winner. We're chasing second and third from this group, Ian Cox. We've got Joe, we've got Wayne fighting it out. 3 riders going into 2 spots on the podium. Doesn't fit. Someone's going to have to miss out. Who's going to take it up? Frenetic pace still being sent here. No caginess just yet. Ian Cox on the front. Joe comes through. Wayne sitting on the back. Still pushing 4 or 5 watts a kilo. We're going for pace here. It's going to be a fast sprint. Joe on the front kicks up to 6. It's dragging. No one's got any legs left. Looks like Ian Cox is out of it. Joe holding on. Wayne kicks up to 7. Wayne D'Agostini comes over the top. He does take second over Joe. Joe in third. Ian Cox third. Fantastic sprint. Again, probably the closest finish we've seen on the line there for the podium in C grade. Exceptional ride. And now quickly dropping back to our D graders. We are with Chris Newbury. So Chris Newbury and Andre Silva were our 2 leaders here. And it looks like Chris has gone away on those climbs. And he's going to be able to enjoy coming into the finish. The hard work is done, Chris. You can enjoy it. You can post up. We have Andre Silva in second, but 10 seconds behind. So the damage has been done here in the D grade race on those final climbs. Again, that final climb, so decisive for riders that stuck together for so long. Nice little sprint for minor placings in the C graders. Chris Newbury rolls over, hands held aloft. Winner of the Tour of Flanders in D grade. Andre Silva rolling through here in second position. Fantastic ride, Andre. And teammate Jose Mendez from Tugues rolling through in third position. So great fight in the D grade race actually. So we saw breaking up, we saw coming back together. So riders taking advantage of some of those fast groups. As Jose now rolls through in third place. We make our way back down the field into the E-grade race. Take us home. These riders have set a good time actually, only an hour and 10 minutes for 40 kilometers, even with the E-grade leader. So high speeds today, really high speeds. I was expecting to be in the commentary booth for about an hour and a half to get around all of these, but these riders have pushed hard and done well. So we saw Adam Kaz break away. Well, Adam Kaz kind of snuck away from us, to be honest. Didn't see him initially, but he must have got into a fast group early. He's had a long time out front for the E-grade race, now rolling over 23rd Street KOM for the final time. He does have a comfortable lead here of almost 2 minutes on Steve Ogley and Joe Rossman, who looks like could be fighting for second and third position here. So we're going to get back to that race. We might just, I know that Joe has some fans in the comments, so we'll congratulate Adam Kaz. Fantastic. We're just going to assume he will roll through with the lead that he's got here to take out the E-grade Tour of Flanders tonight. A very strong ride, was left on his own for a long time and has held on to this gap. Here's the battle for second and third. These two riders, Steve Ogley and Joe Rossman, have probably got it locked up. Steve just crossing the Libby Hill banner there. We'll sit in with Joe and we'll cheer him on. He's the man of the YouTube channel tonight. Certainly winning in the fans. He's got a bit of a task here. If he's going to catch Steve Ogley and take second spot, 22-second gap with just 2 climbs to go. What's he got left? Our last podium battle here for the night. He's giving it everything though, out of the saddle. Let's go, Joe. 25 seconds now though to Steve Ogley, who's pushed on nicely on this descent. Maybe feeling the pressure from behind. Doesn't want to give up the second spot. I'll jump in with Steve now. Making his way down through these flat sections. He's got a quick descent. And then one more climb. We'll see if the legs can hold on and hold off Joe Ross for second position to close us out. What a frenetic night of racing. Incredible race in the A's. Big group just stuck together and rained blows on each other for an hour. It really did take until those final cobbled climbs to make the difference and really break it up. And in the end, coming down to a much reduced bunch sprint, but it looked like it could have 20 going to the line for a while there. Steve Ogley now taking on 23rd Street. You can see the cadence coming off as he grinds up here, working hard. Just got to get over this banner. This is the last of the steep climbs. Still hitting 400 watts here. Fantastic effort from Steve. Joe Ross closing that gap though. 18 seconds, 16 seconds, 15 seconds. Oh, it's not done yet. Is it not at all done yet? Let's cheer him on. Let's go, Joe. 11 seconds to Steve Ogley. Steve pedaling squares here. Over the top, he was just down to 200 watts. Joe up over 300. Just got to keep going. 11-second gap, 12 seconds now, just as we see it tick over there. Just needs to keep going. What's he got left? What's Joe got left here as this gap now extends ever so slightly as Steve gets over that crest. Starts to accelerate and push on. Joe working hard still. Still getting up near 4 watts a kilo here. Just needs to push hard over this crest. What can he do with 1 climb left to go? 25-second gap now. Looks like maybe the Zwift time gaps were giving us a little bit of false hope there. It looked like Joe put in a really nice climb there. Didn't look like he was closing, but now 30 seconds to Steve Ogley rolling down. Just the 1 climb to go. Be a big ask to catch up from here, assuming this time gap is correct. Who knows where the motorbikes are? It showed as little as 9-10 seconds before an error out to 30, so we'll take it with a grain of salt. But it did look like there was a serious time gap there between these two riders getting over that 23rd Street banner. In the B grade race, we saw Tom Terreit just too strong. He's on his way up to upgrade in the next transfer window. And too good tonight, held on to the A's for almost the entire race, just getting dropped on those final couple of climbs, but going over the line 3 minutes ahead of a fantastic bunch sprint, where we saw James Kim coming home late to take second, Goran Salovic in the third. Recapping in the A's, we had Adrian in the sprint taking first, Thomas Sorensen from Sisu, a fantastic result, coming in second, and Christian Grupp, who was one of our main attackers and really lit up the race, looked to get away, opened up about a 15-second gap in that last stretch on the flats and coming into the final climbs, but was caught on 23rd Street, held on well though for third position. In the thieves, Pedro Miguel got away, held the front, and was a commanding winner in the end by almost 3.5 minutes. Wayne D'Agostini from Australia, winning well in a very fast, extended sprint, more like a big threshold effort to the line on that final flat section. Wayne coming in second. And Joe from Joe Rides YouTube channel in third in the C's. In the D's, Chris Newbury managed to get away and hold on, winning by about 20 seconds over Andre Silva, and then Jose Mendez a few seconds behind that. Thank you for tuning in. We're just going to stick in with the final podium battle for tonight. We've seen Adam Kaz run away with the E-grade race, got away early, held on to some fast riders, opened up a nice gap, and now this is the battle for second and third. We have Steve Ogley from BMCR, 13 seconds ahead of Joe Ross, who seems to have the edge here in the power. So Joe, 3 watts a kilo. Steve oscillating a bit, down to 1.5, back up to 2.8, down to 2. 15-second gap now. It did peak at 30 if you believe the Zwift time gaps, which I don't know that I do, if I'm completely honest. But this one feels about right now. So just this slow, brutal battle going on between these two riders. They've been close all day, never far away on the road. We've seen regroupings, we've seen riders getting away, we've seen these climbs do their damage to this peloton and to this field across all the grades. Looks like Steve's just holding enough of a gap here as we get over the steepest part of this climb. Just a final flatter section to go and then onto the flat sprint finish. Quick look at the numbers. So neither rider has a huge sprint. You'd have to give Steve the edge in a sprint though. So be feeling pretty confident here of taking second place. You can probably see the banner now. Joe Ross, fantastic effort rounding the final corner. He'll get up over this crest. A nice gap back to Dario Paparella in fourth. So congratulations, Steve Ogley now rolling in for second in the E-grade race. Did well without a lot of help. Obviously had some riders around him, but has been strong for the back half of this race. Managed to hold down that second spot for a long, long time, despite the efforts of Joe Ross behind him, who chased well. Put in a nice big effort up Libby Hill, up 23rd Street, and up Broad Street there. Just not quite enough to get back up to Steve, but let's sit in with Joe. I know he's got his fans out there. They'll be keen to see him finish. And that'll be an end to our coverage tonight. So congrats to all the riders for coming out tonight. As I said, has a monument feel. Big points on offer, big fields, 150 plus signups in most of the time zones. Really exciting, fantastic event on by ECRO. If you haven't raced on ECRO, check out ECRO, ECRO.app. It's an exceptional series. It's only just getting started. We've still got 3 grand tours to go and some fantastic one-day races and one-week stage races as well. So thanks for tuning in. Watch Joe here cross the line into third place for the E's on the Tour of Flanders. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for the comments. It's been great fun. And I'll catch you next time on Zwiftaholics.